Hello everyone and welcome to my corner of the world. Today I'm going to be sharing a fancy fold, and I'm not quite sure what it's called. I've heard it called like a pop-up card or a box card, but basically it kind of goes like this, and then it will fold down flat and fit into a regular size envelope for mailing. So I've chosen to do an autumn theme and using some of the products from the 2019 Occasions catalogue. So let's make a start on this. So I have a piece of cardstock here that measures 8.5 by 5.5. So you can get two of these out of one sheet of cardstock. And we're going to score real easy. We're going to score at 2, 4, 6 and 8. And then I'm going to flip this round, and on the side that has got like the 1/2 inch here, I'm going to score at 2 1/4, and I'm going to bring it down to the last score line, not to the bottom but to the last score line. Okay, now all of this information will be on my blog, and there'll be a link underneath this video that will take you there. So then the next thing we're going to do is on the side with the smallest side here, we're going to cut these 4 lines. All right, so I'm going to cut on the line. And then my last piece, I'm going to cut down to that score line, and then I'm going to cut this piece out all together. So I don't need that bit at all. So there's my card base, and then I'm going to fold these 3 down and score them. So the one that hasn't got the score line is the bit that will stand up at the back, and then we're going to put the score lines in along here like that. And so when we get the box together, it's actually going to go like that, and these go down. So while it's still flat, we're going to stick some bits and pieces on it. So I'm going to be using the, let's see, Come To Gather Designer Series paper. It's got the pretty peacock and all sorts of lovely colours in there. And you can see, I think I've just got one or two sheets that I haven't cut into. So I've given this a really good go. It's some lovely images, autumny, pumpkiny images. Excuse me. So I've cut these. I think they're 1 3/4 by 3, the larger pieces, and the smaller pieces are 1 3/4 by, I believe it's 2. But as I say, go ahead and check out my blog, and all the information is in there. I'm going to be using some liquid adhesive to stick the pieces down, and just a little margin around each one, a little border of the cardstock. So this is the Pretty Peacock, which is one of our in colours this year. Again, I think it's been one of my favourites, but that's because blue has always been one of my favourites. And I'm choosing to use this side of my paper, but you know, you can choose any side. So those are those 3 pieces, and then these 3 pieces are going to be laid down flat, and we're going to stick the other pieces of card to those. So let's just go ahead and do that. Now you can use snail. I prefer myself to use liquid adhesive, and that's because it gives you some working time. So just, you can place it and you can give it a little slide around so that you can get your little borders correct. So there we go. And then this one. Now the last one, I'm going to wait until I've got my box assembled. So I know I'm putting it on the right side, right way round, right way up, and we get a good finish. All right, so there's my pieces, and they're basically going to go round like that. All right, so next I'm going to use a bit of double-sided tape, and we're just going to put some double-sided tape on the little tab here. I would not use snail. It's not strong enough for the card. It's going to get a lot of movement. You can use the liquid adhesive, but again, it takes a few moments to dry, and I want to move on with my card. So just take the backing off. Now the way I find it easy to do this, to get it all lined up, is to lie that down with my backing sheet off and to bring this piece up. And I'm just going to bring it up so that these two pieces are level, and then just press firmly, and there is my card, all beautifully set up. So my next thing is, now I know that this is going to be the inside of the card tab. I'm going to stick this piece in just there. Now I've got my opposites. Now my stamp set I've chosen to use today is the Gather Together stamp set. All these lovely pumpkins. I particularly like this sheaf of corn here. And so I've done some pre-stamping. So this is the piece that's going to go on the back here. And this is where you're going to write your greeting to the lucky recipient. And again, I think this piece of cardstock is 5 1/4 by 1 3/4. But again, I'm going to remind you that if you look on my blog, you'll get all the dimensions that you need. All right, so everything now is in the right place. We're going to now work on some little spacers. Now these, if you look on my original card, you'll see that the leaves and everything are kind of, oh, they've kind of got caught up in there, are sort of spread out, and that's because I've got little spacers, and when you look at it from the front, it looks really lovely and lusciously full of leaves and pumpkins. How we do that is that you need 2 pieces of cardstock that are 3 inches by 1, and I've scored them at 1/2 inch from either end. And then I've got some window sheet, and this is like an acetate, and this is 1 inch by 2 inches, and I'm going to pop those on, stick it on with a couple of glue dots, and I've got the glue dots to the corners here, and I'm going to just layer it so it's about 1/3, 1/4 to 1/3. It's not critical as long as you haven't like that, just to hold that in place. You can see I've put some double-sided tape, and I'm going to bend these little tabs like this, so it's kind of like a U shape here. And I'm just going to get my bone folder in there. So you're going to need 2 of these, And what we're going to do is we're going to place them inside the box. There we go. And we're going to line up. Oh, this is being troublesome. It's not usually this bad. Okay, we're going to line up the cut edges here of the little U shape with the back corners of the box, and we're going to put it in so that the top of the card stock here is level with the top of the card stock here, and that the window sheet is poking up. So I'm just going to fold them in slightly, persuade them to go in, and I'm just going to line up. Oh, there you go. Make it hard for yourself. Okay, maybe it's easy to see from this angle. Yes. So I'm just going to pop it in the corner there, and then use my scissors to just gently ease that into that corner there. Can you just see? And then just use my bone folder to give it a really good press down to make sure that it stays in place. Like that. And then with the second piece, we're going to do that at the front, and again we're going to make sure that the cut edge here is going to go in those corners like that. So hopefully this double-sided tape will be a bit more obliging and come off a bit quicker this time. Okay, one down. I think, oh come on. I think part of my problem is I haven't got my reading glasses on and I can't see what I'm doing there. So we've got pop that in there, and I'm just going to make sure that that fits in that corner. Just get my bone folder and gently nudge that in to that corner so it's level with the top of the little box, and then just push it down and give it a really good burnish. So there we are. I'm not quite sure if you can just see the window sheet poking up like that. Yeah, I think that's a good one. And so that's really the basics of this card, and you can decorate it any way that you like, and any theme, balloons for children, flowers for ladies. So I have done some pre-stamping. I've used, as I say, the Gathered Together stamp set and the Coordinating Gathered Leaves dies. And the lovely thing about these die set is when you cut the leaves, they are already pre-embossed. And I've cut this one with some champagne foil, and then these ones here are as well. Can you see? Isn't that lovely? It really gives a super effect. So I've done some cutting, and all I've done is taken some of these leaves, and I've just, I don't know if you can see, stuck them together with a mini dimensional, and then I'm going to stick them onto the very back portion of my card. Now I'm going to fold this down like this, and I'm going to make sure that everything is within, if you like, the footprint of the card, so that if I put it over here, it's going to squish up in the envelope. But by moving it over here, it's going to stick out to the side. Let's see. It's going to stick out to the side here, but it's not going to go over this edge, and this bit will fold round and cover. The other thing is we need to make sure that it doesn't go above this piece as well, so that again it doesn't get squished in the card, in the envelope. So we're gonna stick a couple of mini dimensionals. I found it a lot easier to use the mini dimensionals rather than the larger ones, because we're working with quite small pieces here. So I'm just going to pop them on here and then just attach. I'm going to lie it down a little bit so I know that there we go. I need to make sure that it doesn't go over the top and it doesn't go over this side. And look at that, the little devil is just, it needs to be eased across. There we are. So there's our first layer down, and the next is we're going to take some more of my leaves, and this time this little pumpkin. So I've stamped and cut pumpkins, and I have used a little bit of Wink of Stella just to soften the colors a little bit and to give it some shimmer. So again, I'm going to just layer these together. If you can do flower arranging, you can do these. I can't range flowers at all, but there, I'm going to do that like that. I'm going to put another dimensional, and this time I am going to pop it on the lower edge of my leaf. Just a couple of leaves, and this time I am going to put this one on that first piece of acetate. So let's go pop him again, making sure that it doesn't go over this edge. And then I'm going to get a glue dot and one of my little pumpkins, and I'm going to stick the glue dot on the bottom corner, and then I'm going to pop that up like that. And then finally I've got a few more leaves and another pumpkin, and the whole point of this is to make it sort of look full. Like it's got lots of leaves and things like that on there. So I'm just going to pop a dimensional there like that, and then another of my little mini dimensionals. I'm going to pop it there, and let's see, let's have that going a bit over there like that. And then I've got a nice big pumpkin here, and again I'm going to pop that on. And just find where it looks good. This one's actually going to stick onto the acetate or the window sheet here like that. And I've got and that's my pieces all stacked in there like that. I have my greeting, which is Seasons of Thanks, and I'm just going to pop that on with again a couple of dimensionals, and I'm going to pop it toward the bottom there. And then I've got one more little pumpkin. Well, this is a double pumpkin here, so let's put another dimensional on, and I'm just going to sort of stick it to one side, but again not over the edge here. And then a couple of pieces of ribbon. I've made a little knot using the mint macaron textured ribbon. Again, I'm going to stick that on with a glue dot like that. And then I've made a double, I've just got 2 lengths of linen thread, and I've made a bow. I will put a link in my blog on videos how I make my bows. And that goes on with a glue dot there. And then I've just got my little envelope, which I've pre-stamped with that lovely sheaf of corn that I was telling you about. And there we are. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this card. I certainly thank you very much for joining me today. As I say, there's on my blog, you'll be able to scroll down, and there'll be links to the supplies that you can go and order. I'd certainly appreciate that. And if you've liked this video, if you could give it a thumbs up on Facebook, on YouTube, I would appreciate that as well. So thanks for joining me today. Bye for now.